Hi, this is Ian Dainty, and today I want to talk to you about a program I have called the 9 Factors for B2B Marketing and Sales Success. And through this I want to show you that B2B marketing and sales is quite a sophisticated process and not just something that you can learn in a day or so. There's training involved and there's also ongoing coaching because it is a sophisticated process. And like anything, to be good at it, you do need ongoing coaching. So let's have a look at what's involved and what these 9 factors are. You can see there are 5 pillars involved in the 9 factors. There are 3 processes, and the basis for everything, the foundation for all, is the client-facing team. So that's what the 9 factors are, the 5 pillars, the 3 processes, and the client-facing team. And I want to have a brief look at each one of them to show you why it is a sophisticated process and why it's important that you go through all of this and understand it so that you can really sell properly to your B2B clients and prospects. First of all, you notice I use the word factor. A factor is something that actively contributes to the production of a result. Now I'm telling you this because that's really what you want to do, is you want to produce results for your clients and prospects. And so the factors help you do that. Once you understand all these factors, that'll help you produce results for your clients. Generating results. In order to get a client, you must build trust with them, right? Through the prospecting process, and also ongoing as the company that you're working with is a client, and you want to keep producing more and more with them and get more and more income from them. So what do we mean by generating results here? Well, results are generated by the value you bring to your client, which then develops the relationship, which then builds trust, and that's how you keep a client for you for a long, long time. Okay? So you need to build trust in order to generate results by showing the value you bring them. And there's also one you want to show them is what happens if they don't do something, but I'll get into that in a sec. But the value you bring, which develops a relationship, which builds trust, which allows you to keep selling to them. So it's important that generating results and building trust with your clients, as you can see, that's what really drives your business. And then there's the relationship commitment. There's 5 levels of a relationship commitment, right from a vendor right up to a strategic business advisor. And during my program, we go through all of these and where do you want to be? As a vendor, of course, you're going to have lots of competition. As a strategic business advisor, you're going to have very little, if any, very little or no competition, but you will have to spend an awful lot of time with your client, but that'll also allow you to give you to drive higher fees and therefore have a bigger relationship with them. So my program talks about that as we go through it and how you work your way up this relationship ladder to become a strategic business advisor, if that's what you and your client want. So, excuse me, we look at the 5 pillars for B2B marketing sales success. There's the basics, the buying process, marketing elements, selling elements, and then of course when you become a client, how do you manage that account? So I'm going to look at each one of these in a little bit more detail to show you what's involved in it and to show you that it is a sophisticated process and therefore there's a lot to learn, but once you do, the benefits to you and to the client are astronomical, and as far as fees and as far as what the client gets out of it. So you call pillar number 1 was the basics, and here are the things that you need to do to understand the basics you need to drive so that you understand who your clients are and they understand what you can bring them. Their ideal client, your ideal client company. You must understand your ideal client personas. I'm sure you've talked about that, but all of these are important. The first one, of course, is ideal market. Understand your client goals before you understand their issues, because really the only way they have issues is if they have goals that they can't achieve, and that's what'll help you drive the business, by understanding their goals. What's your value proposition? What are your differentiators? And who is your competition? So that you can understand what their competition is bringing them and how you stand above them through your differentiators. So you can see the basics here for B2B success are very important. You must understand all of this if you want to be successful in B2B marketing and sales. Pillar number 2 is the buying process. What do your clients go through? Notice I didn't say here's the selling process. Because really, yes, you sell to them, but it's really them they buy. They decide when they want to buy. What are the factors affecting the buy? Things like, has there been a merger in the company? What's the economy doing right now? So there's all kinds of factors that can affect whether companies are going to hit or no. What are the 5 buying stages that companies go through? And we'll touch on each one of those and why it's important to understand that and how you can sell into each of those stages. What are the social proof you bring? You must have social proof. Things like testimonials and case studies, that kind of thing, that very few companies, or not enough companies rather, have. What are the 5 reasons B2B companies buy? I'm going to go through all of those in detail so you really understand how you position your products and or services so that they will buy from you. And who influences the buy in a company? There used to be 4, now there's 5. So you have to understand what their influence is on your proposal and why they would buy from you versus somebody else. What are the marketing elements that you must go through? Well, the first thing you need is a marketing plan, and not enough people have that. Your website, of course, is incredibly important. The content you have in your website through your blog and your case studies, and just how you describe what your products and services are. And you can demonstrate these through videos and audios, articles, ebooks, etc. All kinds of things to show what your content is. Social media, really important, because now companies and the people in it, these 5 influencers, will now go through social media. They'll go to the web and look at your content, and they'll look at LinkedIn and YouTube, Twitter, Google+. These are the 4 important ones, I believe, for B2B. So it's important that you're recognized on each of these, particularly LinkedIn. Email is still very powerful. You have to have email campaigns. Speaking engagements. Do webinars and seminars and teleseminars, and we'll go through how you do those. Run ads and pay-per-click, particularly, say, on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook is, a lot of people run Facebook ads. I haven't done a lot of that, but they've found them effective too, and we'll talk about that. What are some of the tools that you need? Well, everybody needs a CRM. You need some way to capture leads, marketing and sales software, so that when people do download stuff, you got their names and you can follow up with them on it. So there's all kinds of tools that you need. And you can see it's the sophistication of the process. They're the B2B marketing elements that we'll talk about in my program. What are the selling elements? Well, you need a sales playbook. What do you do? First of all, how do you get into a client? And then what do you do when you're there? What do you do when you're talking to them? How do you build up that client? What are some of the strategic account management things we'll do? And we'll talk about that in a sec. You must know your market, your client, your prospect. You must understand those and what they are, as we talked about earlier. How do you qualify them? I've developed a thing called the game plan: goals, afflictions, impact, and meaning. And then there's BANT, which has been around for a long time. We'll talk about both of them, and how they affect how you qualify. Because qualifying is important. I want to show you how to qualify out before you qualify in, and why that's more important. How do you do demonstrations so that they're powerful? Not just throwing up slides, but how do you actually do a demo of your product or services? Should you write proposals, and how should you write them? Should you answer RFPs, and what's the best and really only way you should do them? What happens when clients throw up objections? How do you handle each one of those? How do you close? When do you close? We'll go through all of that. And then, of course, the most important thing is, how do you build up the relationships in order to keep in order to, first of all, get the client and then keep that client for a long period of time. The 5th pillar is strategic account management. SAM, I'm sure you've heard of that. What are the knowledge requirements that you need to understand your client? Industry and client research, opportunities that are going to exist in your client. I'll show you a little graphic in a sec that describes all of that. You need client management framework. What are the outputs after you do this? Do you do this research? How do you resolve issues? I have a process that I've developed over the years in conjunction with other B2B sales and marketing executives who are salespeople, and show you a nice way to resolve issues and how through a decomposition system. Relationship management, important. How do you develop those relationships? It's not just one relationship that I'll show you in a second too. What are the tools you're going to use in this process? We went through some of them before, your CRM, etc., but they're just as important in your account management, of course, as they are in your marketing. So there's four of the pillars, or sorry, the five pillars. And we talked about how do you develop strategic account management. Well, you need knowledge requirements, your industry and client research, and what are the opportunities you're going to develop out of those. And that develops a client management framework where you have a repository of what's going on, industry point of view, client point of view, what tech support tools do you need, who's your team, opportunity management, etc. And what do you get out of that? Well, the outputs are you get a relationship plan, relationship funnels, you get your value proposition, your pursuit plans, your team management program, how you're going to manage both teams, your client team and your team, what's your plan, and what sort of opportunities are going to come out of that. And so these are, as you can see, it is a sophisticated process, and it does take a lot of work, but the results can be exponential for you and huge for you as far as fees. And if you're a salesperson or marketer, in terms of commissions, etc. So what are the three processes? Well, I call them the PAR processes: planning, analytics, and research. I love the golf, so I like this acronym. You need to plan. I told you that. You need a marketing plan. You need a sales playbook. They're important that you have these things, and you've got to learn how to put them together. Analytics are so important now, and there's so many tools out there that we talked about. How do you know who your best clients are? You can do that through analytics based on if you've been around a while, and if you're just starting out or having trouble, then analytics will help you there. And all of this, of course, is done through some research that you do that we talked about, of your market, of your clients, of the tools that you need, etc. So the processes are very important in a B2B marketing and sales situation. And then your client-facing team. You have a team and they have a team in B2B, depending on what you sell. But as you move up the relationship ladder, you usually have more and more people involved in a team, and depending on the product or service that you have, the sophistication of it and the impact it has on your client, you'll have probably more and more team members. Of course, the first team group is your sales group. Your account manager runs out. There may be one or more salespeople involved or account manager. Your marketing team, how you interface with them. Your executives, you must have, as you move up the relationship ladder, you're going to need executive interface from your company and from your client company. And the salesperson, account manager, key account manager, that's his or her duty is to manage all of that. Sorry about that. Executives, client service personnel, okay? You're going to have those. Implementation personnel. Pick if you've got a software product or you have a large machine you have to put in. You've got to work with that, your team and their team. And, of course, consultants. You may have an outside consultants or internal consultants that work with them. And, of course, one consultant that you generally have is your champion, who may be inside your company or your client's company or whatever. So you've got 6 sort of groups, individuals or groups here that you've got to manage in a B2B client situation. So you can see it is sophisticated and what you have to go through. But the results you get are exponential, as I talked about. You get faster revenue growth, 3 times faster revenue growth. You get higher margins, you get long-term account stability, improved competitive positioning, increased cross-selling, client advocates, and then you train your staff, and etc. All based on what I've just talked about, okay? So it's important that you understand this and know it, and therefore you're going to make a lot more money, you're going to make your clients a lot happier, and you're going to build a business. So they're the 9 factors for B2B marketing sales success. The 5 pillars, the 3 processes, the client-facing team. If you have any questions, please write me, email me at this email address, ian@maximizebusinessmarketing.com, and I'll be happy to answer them, or call me, and I'll be happy to answer them too. And this is the program that we go through. As you can see, it is sophisticated, but once you know this stuff through training and coaching, you're going to make an awful lot more money, and your company is going to grow quite a bit, a lot more than it is now, sometimes 3 to 5 times faster than it has in the past. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to serving you in the future.